you for joining us today on Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. In this episode, we will be talking with Mayor Harry Rediger about key city initiatives as he winds down his final term as mayor. Wiki Jean and Cantrell Andrews will join us to talk about honorable young men, and KRCU producer and host Collin Ritter will tell us all about a local TEDx event coming up. That's all ahead on Cape Chronicle.
This is Candace Davis.
This is Shad Berner.
Hello, this is Tom Hardy.
I'm Stacy Dohanley.
This is Frank Nickel.
I'm Brooke Hildebrand Clubs.
This is Nate Savarino. You're listening to KRCU.
At KRCU, we don't just say anything. Tune in weekdays to hear local voices delivering trusted information on nature, food, history, health, sports, and more during NPR's Morning Edition.
Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audra Kane. Mayor Harry Rediger has been serving the community since he moved here, but he's been serving most recently as our mayor of Cape Girardeau for the last 8 years. His term ends in April, but he's not done making an impact quite yet. Mayor, thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here with you, Audra, always.
It's always nice to see you. I know that there are many things that can be counted as your legacy in the last 8 years of serving alongside the wonderful staff that Cape Girardeau has, as well as all of the city council members. But I know that there are some things that you're pretty excited about that are coming in the future. And so I thought it'd be great if we could chat about, especially the Prospect League. Now, this is something I did not know about before we scheduled the interview. So talk about what this is, because this is not something I'd heard of.
Well, Audra, we've been working on the Prospect League since early in 17, when we were officially invited by the commissioner of the Prospect League to join their expanding league, which will be expanded. They played 10 teams last year, and they're expanding to 12 this year and eventually to 16. The league plays from Missouri on the west to Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia on the east. It's a collegiate wood bat league in which university freshmen, sophomores, and juniors want to play in the summertime. They hone their skills, and they're hoping that Major League Scouts witness them and it perk their attention. And there are a lot of scouts that follow the Prospect League as they go. That's where they find the talent.
How long has this league been in action?
Well, it's been in action for quite a while. There are several leagues around the nation. It's not new, but it's new to our area, and this puts baseball on the national stage in Cape Girardeau.
How did they go about finding Cape Girardeau? I mean, did they come, or were they advertising for cities?
It turns out that the commissioner of the league is a graduate of Southeast.
Oh, well, that helps.
And we were introduced through Coach Andy Sawyer, our Southeast baseball coach. And the thing that got us the invitation was really our effort at Kappaugh Field to add the turf field.
Right.
It's a great setting, and it just worked. And of course, our challenge was to find an owner and to find a general manager and some support. And then we've got to improve Kappaugh Field, too. There are going to be some major improvements to Kappaugh Field. So we've got the owner. We've officially been accepted. Now the work begins with the architecture and building a team.
Okay, so we'll get to the improvements on the field, but as far as ownership goes, who did we find locally? It is locally, right?
Absolutely. We talked to 7 different individuals or family groups who have been interested and supportive of baseball in the past, be it Kappahaw's or American Legion or whatever. We found a local businessman that is actually a national businessman but lives locally, Andy Patel, that said, yes, I want to do this. And we were very thrilled with that. He's a community-minded person, and wants to do what's right for the community, and wants to invest in the team, invest in the field, and invest in Cape Girardeau.
And so when you say invest in the field, I did my research to find out, because there is some work that needs to be done. It's not, there's not exactly the most, I don't want to say it's not fan friendly, but there's not a lot of fan seating. There's the fence isn't as high as some fields have. So those things have to be improved. How is that going to work out as far as the team consideration goes?
And that all has to happen. We will begin play in June of next year, 19. So it's on a fast track. We'll need to enclose the field with fencing, of course. The existing grandstand, our plans to convert those to chairback seats. A plaza, a new plaza outside, flags, etc. We have funds already for indoor batting cage down the left field line, and inside that, the plan would be to do the locker rooms there, and then some new bleachers on top of that down the left field line. Fan friendly on the first base side, because that's where people always used to gather and stand and watch the games traditionally. Looking at some tables there, and renting and leasing tables and sponsors down that line. However, we are just in the very beginning. We have really no architect rendering yet. We've been in contact now, and we'll soon get some renderings and have to be making some decisions pretty soon. But it will include all of those things, and also a new restroom, new concession stand, etc. So, and new light at the field too. So there'll be a considerable upgrade, but it's all in the planning stage right now.
Well, and I know that there are we're talking about some of the renovations from Kapaha. How does that end up paid for? You said that some of it, there's money set aside for that, but I know that some of it has to do with the lease of the team using the field, right?
The city owns the field. It's in Kapaha Park, so there will be a lease arrangement. Again, that's not all set in stone yet. It has not been completed, but there will be a lease arrangement. The owner, Andy Patel, is capitalizing the team and also putting money into the field. Our Parks and Recreation Stormwater Tax renewal that's in April is going to be a key part of that, because that will do some of the improvements also. And then we'll look for some, I think when the plan that we've heard from other teams that have done it is the chairback seats, selling those seats and get sponsors there. So there's all kinds of various ways that we will get the improvements completed.
Okay, so you mentioned the stormwater tax extension, and that's coming up in April. And so is that something that you feel like will pass?
I'm very encouraged with the response I've gotten from citizens. It's a citizen-based plan. The projects that are on the PRS, the Park Recreation Stormwater Project, the projects are things that citizens have asked for. We've had numerous open public meetings and had a considerable input, and some of the projects were tweaked because of this. So I'm encouraged at this point, but the work is really beginning now ahead of that April vote, where we'll really take the case to the citizens and tell them about the project and how they're going to be completed and what they're all about. And I'm encouraged that it will pass. This is a renewal. This is not a new tax, it's a renewal. And we have followed through with our PRS-1 and have completed those projects. So there's always needs out there, and I'm encouraged that we'll move ahead with it.
Well, this is our first chance to get the information out to people that the PRS-2 is on the ballot in April.
It's a 3/8 cent renewal.
All right, well, we look forward to making it happen.
Maybe we got to make it happen now.
See some improvements.
My last couple months, we got to make it happen.
Going out with a bang. Well, thank you so much, Mayor Harry. It's always great to see you.
Always great to see you, Audra.
Thank you. We've been talking with Mayor Harry Rediger. Thanks for joining us again today. On the way, we'll talk about honorable young men with Wiki Jean and Cantrell Andrews. That's next on Cape Chronicle.
Facing life's difficulties takes strength and determination. Whether it's physical challenges or struggles you can't see, it takes strength to ask for help when you need it. Learn how other veterans have reached out for help and hear their stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
You can sing in the shower and doodle in the margins of a notebook for the rest of your life, or you can push your creativity to center stage and develop the skills to back it up. At Southeast Missouri State University, you can surround yourself with minds that are as creative and weird and beautiful as yours, at a campus dedicated exclusively to the arts, with classmates who share your passion and faculty who know the industry. You've got talent. Let's see what you got.
Welcome back to Cape Chronicle. I'm Audrey Kane. We have the Honorable Young Men's Club President, Wiki Jean, and Vice President, Cantrell Andrews, with us now. Gentlemen, I am so glad to have you here. I am very impressed by your organization, Honorable Young Men Club, and I looked it up. I actually did my research on Facebook so I could see what you were doing, but I have to admit that I'm a little sad you're not wearing a tie, because I know that the young men were taught how to tie a tie.
Yes, they were.
That's okay. I love your shirt, though. I'm just teasing you. I saw some wonderful things that you all were doing with these young boys. Now, these are like middle school boys that you're working with, yes?
Middle school and junior high.
Middle school and junior
Yes,
high.
ma'am.
Okay, so you, as a former substitute teacher and Sunday school teacher, you had me at, tie. What I wanted to ask you about for this show, though, is what is this organization? Where did this come from, and how did you get involved? Go ahead, you start. Right.
Well, yeah. Where did they come from?
Right.
Well, we have been volunteering in the community for many, many years, and we all volunteered in different areas or worked in different areas.
Right.
And so the opportunity arose from giving back, really.
Mm-hmm.
For a period of time, we were working in the juvenile detention center, and so we were dealing with kids in that community, and it was kind of a sad scene. But on Tuesdays, Danny Reese opened up his doors and allowed actually Kwaku started volunteering with him first. It was the Christian Boxing Academy, and we started getting involved with the kids in South Cape, and then it kind of just sparked an interest for us there, and we did that for a few years, and Cantrell ended up moving but coming back because he got promoted to work at a different juvenile center in Kentucky, but he ended up coming back, and it was a blessing to have him back because as we were working with the kids at the boxing academy, his mother came up with this thought, like, how would you guys like mentoring the kids in the school? And we're kind of up for challenges.
Oh, yeah,
we're like,
definitely.
yeah, that sounds like a
Definitely.
cool idea. Didn't really know direction we're gonna take. We were just like, we help the kids now. We want to see them get better. We want to see them prosper. So let's step into the schools and see what we can do. And that's how it kind of started off.
Well, it sounds like you're doing great things.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know some of these boys, and I know that they desperately need strong role models in their
Yes,
lives.
yes.
I mean, they're just aching for someone to show them how to make the right decisions, how to tie a tie, how to walk around with their head held high.
Right,
I mean,
yes.
and that is a big deal to look at the two of you, and you're strong individuals, and you're confident, and you're not dependent on other people. I mean, tell me, Cantrell, What does it mean for you when you sit down with these young men and you're able to influence their lives?
It means a lot, honestly, because we realize how important a male figure is in any child's life. And when that child does not have that male figure at home and he looks to you as that role model, it means a lot. It means a lot to us because, I have a stepfather, Wiki's dad wasn't there too much. So we had football coaches, track coaches, basketball coaches that were our mentor. But to able to sit down with these kids and to know that they look up to you, or you may potentially be their last line of defense before they go into an alt school or into an ISS or OSS, it is a heavy feeling, but at the same time you rejoice because okay, this is my focus. I have to focus all right here.
Absolutely. What do you think is the most important function of your Honorable Young Men Club for these boys? The very, at the core of what you're doing. Besides being strong role models, are you there to counsel, to listen?
I would say so, yes. First thing first is relationship.
Absolutely.
My brother Kwaku says you have to be able to connect before you correct.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just can't go in there and tell a kid like, hey, don't do this or don't say that. They'll look at you like, who are you? But once you're able to build a relationship with this child and they know that they can trust you and you're not just around for a short time, that you're here for a long period of time, you build that trust. And then after a while, you can start correcting them and start leading them in that right direction because they do trust you. And that's the biggest thing. They don't have a lot of trust, back at home. So when they do find a trust, they really gravitate towards it. And at the same time, you have to be careful because whatever you say to these kids, they hold on tight to it. So if you say you're going to pick them up at a so-and-so time, you got to be there at that time.
You absolutely do. My husband was like a 5th and 6th grade boys basketball coach for a church league, and sometimes I had to take them home. And they were very dependent on me, relying on me to give them their ride home. So, are those the kinds of things that you're doing outside of those meetings? Are you attending their games? Are you helping them find ways to manage their home life?
Oh yeah. I think that's a very important part is outside of school, that's where trouble can happen or opportunities can happen. So we try to provide as many opportunities as we can. Getting the community involved, getting them connected, letting the kids see things that they never have seen before. So the outside life, we support them big time. I mean, we're former ball players, so we love being at sporting arrangements and cheering them on. We went to a wrestling match at the junior high this season, and we got to see our boys wrestle and got to see their resiliency and just them going really hard, and it's cool. It's fun to just be there and see your boys compete. And there's a lot of life lessons in those sports. So when you go out there and you watch them in them environments, they can always come back in class and there's something you could talk about, and tie that with the core value or life lesson that we talk about and preach. So it's a lot of connecting factors when you're with them outside of school.
And we have a minute or so left, but I want to know if there's a mom or a teacher or a coach or something that's watching this and they want to connect a kid with you, how do they go about doing that?
We have a Facebook page that we connect with the community with. We usually have business cards, or you can contact the school board office or either building, middle school or the junior high. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The middle school, the junior high, or the school board office for Cape Girardeau Public Schools.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
The
thank
things
you
that you're doing change lives, but they also improve the community in the same ways that Mayor Harry works to improve the community. That's what the two of you are doing as well.
Thank you very much.
Very proud to have you as part of Cape Girardeau.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having us.
All right, we've been talking with Wiki Jean and Cantrell Andrews of Honorable Young Men. After the break, we'll hear from KRCU's Collin Ritter about an exciting TEDx event coming to Cape Girardeau.
At Southeast Missouri State, we know agriculture can mean so much more than working on the farm. It means research and lab work that lead to profitability and sustainability. It means creating new jobs that other people haven't even thought of yet. It means the spirit of entrepreneurship and the desire to make your own way. You want to do something groundbreaking, beyond plowing fields. So let's get started.
National forests are essential to life, majestic and grand. They clean our air, supply drinking water to millions of Americans, and provide homes to countless wildlife. They fuel our imaginations and inspire us to think big. Now, our national forests need us. Fires and natural disasters destroy millions of trees each year. That's why we're replanting our forests from coast to coast. Visit arborday.org. See how you can help.
At Southeast Missouri State, we've been launching the extraordinary careers of educators for nearly 150 years. But that's the thing about educators. They're always ready to learn more, discover new paths, and push themselves to the next level. With our new online educational leadership programs, you can earn the credentials needed to move up in your career. With flexibility for your schedule, accelerated courses, and an affordable price, together we can transform our learning communities and prepare you to conquer your goals.
This is Cape Chronicle, and I'm Audra Kane. TED Talks are hot topics lately, but a more localized version, the TEDx, is coming to Southeast Missouri State. Event organizer and KRCU producer and host Collin Ritter is here to outline what will take place. Collin, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for people who don't know what TED is or what TEDx is, I actually had to Google it myself.
No worries.
I don't want people to feel like they know less than I do, because I know absolutely nothing about this. I didn't realize that the TED Talks, or the TED organization, which is Technology, Entertainment, and Design,
Correct.
began back in 1984 as a way of spreading ideas. It's a nonprofit organization,
Correct.
and they've licensed TEDx freely to anyone who wants to create an event. So you are the organizer for the event coming up on
March 1st.
March 1st.
Yes.
So what is the theme for this TEDx?
So this year's theme is Matter of Time. It all began back in the summer of 2015 when Brooke Hildebrand Club, who's my co-organizer, we got together to plan and apply for the first TEDx license for Southeast Missouri State. Our first theme was diverse passions, so the different diverse passions that we have in our lives, and that's with regard to anything that you may do, work or hobbies or anything of that nature. And we really tried to focus on relevant events, current events and current issues that are existing and all around us. So that's really what we tried to focus on with Matter of Time. And sort of relating to diverse passions in some sort of way, it talks about those integral parts in your life as time goes on and how you change and how you have different revelations and those impact you and make you who you are.
Okay, so Matter of Time is going to center around what type of speaker?
We have several different types of speakers.
Okay.
Of the four we have,
there's four.
There
Okay.
are four total that will be speaking at the event live, one of which is a graduate student at the university, one is an alum, one is a professor, and one is a recent grad student. So we have a good mix match, all from the university, that will be speaking and representing the community as a whole.
Okay, so they'll each pull their own timely events in their life. And so this one's going to be rather personal then.
It is. That's really what we tried to focus on, and it's really coming through. This TEDx specifically is very personal, and I think that's good. And Brooke, I know, agrees with me. I think sometimes in life, when you have someone who has the guts, the bravery to talk about their very personal, happenings in life, I think it can help others come forward and speak out about maybe problems that they're having and things like that. Not necessarily problems, but good things happening in your life as well.
Sure. Just because it's negative to one person doesn't mean you necessarily have to consider it as a negative in your own life. So as far as the event happening on March the 1st, where will it be?
It will be at the Alumni Center on Southeast Campus at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m.
Right there on Broadway.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple hours?
Yeah, it kind of ranges. I believe, last time it went about 2.5, 3 hours. We're going to keep it around 2 hours this time.
Okay, so around, half hour, 20 minutes for each speaker. I was going to ask, what will the event be like? But I'm going to assume that it's similar to other speaking engagements. But will there be other things that are involved?
Of course, there'll be we have the live speakers, but also when you license a TEDx event, they do require a few taped TEDx speeches or talks presented screen in the room. So it centers around that whole TEDx environment and that TEDx brand. Not only do you have live speakers there, but you also have that technology, that digital aspect from a lot of very famous TEDx talks that have gone on. And it brings the two together to give it a more holistic approach.
Is there a way to kind of preview things? I know that a lot of TED Talks are online. Is there a way to preview what is going to be coming as far as the speakers will go?
Yeah, we're actually working with marketing right now, and all those materials will be going out rather soon to kind of give a brief hint as to what the speakers will be talking about, because we don't want to give it away. We kind of like the anticipation that builds up beforehand. The only people that will truly know the ins and outs of what will be said will be Brooke and myself, who kind of work with the speakers, primarily Brooke, because she's much better at that than I am. And we kind of go from there. But as far as getting an understanding of what TED is, you can, of course, go to TED's YouTube page, YouTube channel, and look at talks from the past to get an idea of what you're going to have at the event.
People share them on social media a lot. As a radio host and as a producer, what do you find the most interesting about putting this type of event on?
I think the most interesting thing for me is the fact that, kind of what I alluded to earlier, you get to hear people talk about deeply personal things, deeply personal topics that in some instances are not as much talked about. And you get to see the true nature of people. It's kind of, you get to see some grit in a sense. And, you know, I think people shouldn't be afraid to make people uncomfortable with storytelling. I think that's the beauty of storytelling, that you can go the extra mile and tell something that can change someone. And that's kind of what TED's about. You know, it's ideas worth spreading. That's the slogan of TED. But it's truly about spreading those ideas and kind of helping people flourish. Because if we stick to one mundane story for our entire life, we never know anything different. But TED really takes that avenue and says, you know, let me introduce a new idea into your life and take it and let's see what you do with it.
You scream public radio. It
I
oozes
appreciate
out
that.
of your pores, and I'm saying that totally as a compliment.
I will take that as a compliment.
KRCU producer and host, Collin Ritter, thank you so much
Thank you for having
coming
me.
by. It's been great to meet you.
It's been great meeting you as well.
I look forward to seeing more great things
appreciate
from you. And thank you for joining us today for Cape Chronicle. The program is a collaboration between the Department of Mass Media at Southeast Missouri State University and the City of Cape Girardeau. Our executive producer is Dr. Jim Dufek. I'm Audra Kane. Thanks for watching.